Right now, the United States is engaged in the most significant military escalation in the Middle East in decades. We are officially in the second week of Operation Epic Fury, massive joint United States-Israeli military campaign that has completely rewritten the geopolitical chessboard. But this is not just a distant conflict. Over the last few days, Iran has retaliated 14 United States bases across the Bahrain, in UAE, Kuwait, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia have been struck. Approximately 150 American service members have been injured and 7 United States troops have been killed, including Sergeant Benjamin Pemberton at Prince Sultan Air Base. Today, we are looking at infiltrate data. We are going to map out exactly what targets were destroyed inside the Iran, how the United States Navy is currently fighting to keep the Strait of Hormuz open, and what President Trump's threat of severe escalation means for the global economy and the price you pay at the gas pump. So this is the ground truth. Let's take a look at the map. To understand the relations, we have a look at what triggered it. On February 28, the United States and Israel launched a coordinated, devastating series of strikes deep inside Iran country. This wasn't a warming shoot. This was the decapitation strike aimed at crippling Iran's nuclear infrastructure, their ballistic missiles, silos, and their air defense networks. But the most critical shift in the operation was the targeting of Iranian leadership, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, which was killed in the strikes. A single event has triggered a shockwave throughout the regime, creating a massive power vacuum in Tehran. Historically, Iran has relied on a strategy of strategic patience, but with their command structure decimated and their nuclear ambitions. Physically dismantled by B-2 bombers, the regime was forced into a corner. They had to respond to save face, not just for their own citizens they found across the region. And the response was immediate and lethal. Iran activated its axis of resistance. Instead of conventional military offensive, which they know they would lose again, American air superiority, they launched a synchronized swarm of ballistic missiles and suicide drones at United States installation. 14 bases, let me repeat that, 14 bases, 14 separate United States bases were targeted almost simultaneously across 5 different allied nations. The objective was to overwhelm the United States Patriot and TA-8 missiles defense system, while the majority of the projectiles were intercepted. The sheer volume allowed several to break out, resulting in the tragic loss of American lives. Iran's new acting leadership has vowed that he is only the first wave. They are signaling that the entire region is now free fire zone for American assets. Because of the sheer speed at which this conflict is developing, mainstream networks are operating on 24 hours delay. By the time they verify a strike, the geopolitical reality has already shifted. So if you want to bypass delay and see the raw intelligence as it happens, I post the unfiltered satellite imagery, frontline analytics, and geopolitical threats assessment in my private Discord channel. Okay, so it's the premium secure community where serious analytics and viewers track these military movements in real time. The link to join the private intelligence feed is on the description below. So if you want the raw data before it hits the news cycles, get in there today. Now let's look at the most dangerous flashpoints of this entire war, the choke point. While the airstrike dominate the headlines, the real war that will affect your wallet is happening right here, the Strait of Hormuz. So 20% of the world's oil flows through this narrow strip of water. Iran knows that disrupting all this flow is the fastest way to inflict economic pain on the United States and its allies. In the opening days of March, Iranian naval forces attempted to lay explosive mines across commercial shipping lanes. The United States Navy responded with overwhelming force. Okay, so sinking almost 16 Iranian mine layers in a matter of hours. President Trump has drawn an absolute red line. So the administration has stated that any further attempts by Iran to block the Strait of the Hormuz or target commercial shipping will result in unpredicted escalated strikes on whatever remains of Iranian's military infrastructure. But the threat remains. Every day this waterway is contested, global markets panic. Okay, so insurance premiums for oil tankers are skyrocketing, and those costs are passed directly to the consumer. If a single supertanker is a sink in the strait, we will see a massive immediate spike in inflation and gas prices across the United States. This is happening in a vacuum. The global chessboard is reacting. Russia, heavily reliant on Iranian drones for the own conflict in Ukraine, is now watching the primary weapons supply get systematically dismantled. Moscow is facing a critical supply chain crisis for frontline forces. Meanwhile, China, which relies heavily on Iranian oil, is quietly watching how the United States projects naval power in contested region, taking careful notes from their own ambitions in the South China Sea. We are watching a total recalibration of the Middle East. Iran's conventional power has been shattered by wounded regime is often the most dangerous. With their leadership dead and their nuclear sites destroyed, the regime has nothing left to lose. They will likely rely entirely on asymmetrical warfare, cyber attacks, proxy militaries, and terror operations to bleed United States resources. The next 72 hours will dictate the next decade of American foreign policy. Will Iran's proxy network fall under the weight of United States air power, or are witnessing the beginning of a prolonged, grueling regional war that will drag the global economy down with it? I will be tracking every naval movement, every strike, and every geopolitical shift right here. And in the private Discord, if you want objective, map-based analytics of the conflicts shaping our world, you can make sure you are subscribed and the notifications turn it on. Watch the Strait of Hormuz, and I will see you in the next update.